Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today we're going to be talking about Clover Health once more. The ticker goes with CLOV. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. I've broken this video into due diligence and then moving on towards technical analysis. The main part of this video is updates on Clover Health, technical analysis updates, and the Hindenburg research that I'm going to poke through. And I did find a little bit of discrepancies, especially with the DOJ investigation not being undisclosed. Now, there's going to be a lot of things here, so make sure you watch the entire thing. But if you'd like to watch my previous ones, you'll find it in the description below. Let's jump right into this one. So Clover Health. Before moving forward towards their updates, I'm pretty sure you're all eager about the Hindenburg research. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to point out a few things that they actually did mention. And the main thing that they're actually working with, and then especially in the title, King of SPACs lured retail investors into a broken business facing an active, undisclosed DOJ investigation. And I'll show you exactly where this thing I'm highlighting in red is actually not true, at least what I've found. And that basically in general, their main thesis seems to be a little bit broken in that system. But we're going to go on with an open mind because we are traders and investing. And we need to understand, well, what is the other argument for your bullish argument, or what is the bearish arguments that are currently out there? So I'm just going to read a bit of more important ones that I've seen. So here, for instance, that Chamath misled investors about critical aspects of Clover business in the run-up to this company's SPAC going public transaction in the last month. The next is their investigation into Clover Health has spanned over 4 months, and that's all they've done here. They've done interviews with employees, competitors, industry experts, dozens of calls to doctor's office, and a review of thousands of pages of government papers, reports, insurance filings, regulatory filings, and a company marketing material. Now, I'm doing a day worth of research, so hopefully I did start breaking a bit of it, and there's some good arguments I have, but let's just keep going. Clover has not disclosed that its business model and its software offering called Clover Assistance under active investigation by Department of Justice. I'll disprove that in a little bit. And this includes at least 12 issues ranging from kickbacks to marketing practices to undisclosed third-party deals, according to a civil investigate demand similar to subpoenas we obtained. This civil investigate demand and the corresponding investigation present a potential existential risk for a company that derives almost all of its revenue from Medicare, a government payer. Our research indicates that the investigation has merit. Clover claims that its best-in-class technology fuels its sales growth. We found much of Clover's sales are driven by major undisclosed related party deal and misleading marketing targeting the elderly. These practices should not have come as a surprise, given that in 2016, Clover was fined misleading marketing practice by the Center for Medicare and Medical Services (CMS). The fine was issued after Clover's repeated failure to amend misleading statements about its plans offering. A former employee told us the fine was so small it just emboldened Clover's to push the envelope further. Clover has a thinly disclosed subsidiary called Seek Insurance. Seek make no mentions to relations with Clover on its website, yet misleading advertisements to seniors that it offers independent and unbiased advice on selecting Medicare plans. It claims that we do not work with an insurance company, we work for you, despite it being owned by Clover. Multiple former employees explained that much of Clover's sales are fueled by major undisclosed relations between Clover and an outside broker firm controlled by Clover's heads of sale, Hiram Bermudez. One of former employees estimated Bermudez drove 68% of Clover's total sales. That was unclear on the amount coming from undisclosed relationships. So as I go now, basically the main thing is the Department of Justice. The rest seems, well, Hiram has connections with a previous company. I don't see that to be a massive issue. A lot of different businesses are who you know in business deals. But the big thing I think there is DOJ. Now, the big thing here is about as well one of the subsidiaries, Seek Insurance, and where they actually claim that they do not work for insurance company. We work for you. But Clover itself markets itself as a technology company rather than an insurance company. So there is a little bit of debate there, but the big thing is the DOJ investigation. So far, we can keep going. One of the former employees explained the Clover Health head of sales effort to conceal relationships by putting it in his wife's name for compliance purposes. Insurance filing confirms this. The Clover contract was quietly put into his wife's name in the week after Clover's going public announcement. In a CNBC interview announcing the Clover transaction, Chamath proclaimed and unpromoted they created transparency. They did not motivate doctors to upcode or do all these kinds of things to get paid. A former employee explained to us that the DOJ is specifically asking about the upcoding or the practice of overbilling Medicare. Multiple former employees explained that Clover's software is primarily a tool to help companies increase coding reimbursement. We provide detail on how the software captures and retains irrelevant diagnoses, which we believe deceives the healthcare system and poses on significant regulatory risk. The Clover claimed its software delights physicians, but according to doctors and former employees we interviewed, they use it because Clover pays them extra to use it. Physicians are paid $200 per visit to use the software, twice the normal reimbursement rate for a Medicare visit. Doctors at key Clover providers describe the software as embarrassingly rudimentary, a waste of my time, and just another administrative hassle to deal with. Now, generally speaking, I'm thinking that $200 per visit to use a software, even though that is a kickback, in pharmaceuticals and medical industry, that is very, very much of a common thing. It is very much of a common thing. I'm talking based on experience from talking to different people in the field. Clover's CDO left 6 months before the first release of the supposed disruptive Clover Assistant software in July 2018, like a sign that development wasn't going great. Clover executive team has been in turmoil with three CFOs, 3 COOs, and 2 general counsels in the last 4 years. Turnovers aren't always good in different companies. I know a few companies that have a lot of turnovers, but the company itself could be the environment rather than actual something's going wrong. Prior to founding Clover, CEO Vivek Garpali owned 3 New Jersey hospitals through a company called CarePoint Health. CarePoint was publicly lambasted for price gouging. Its hospital charged the highest prices for emergency rooms treatment in the entire country. For example, local media reported that Garpali's hospital charged a teacher $9,000 for a bandage finger and tetanus shot, and another patient $17,000 for 5 to 6 stitches on a cut hand. Hey, it's private business. They can charge whatever they want. This is America. Capitalism. In 2015, as it came under increasingly regulatory scrutiny, Garpali made a secret $1 million donation to the New Jersey City mayor through a shell entity. Garpali was only revealed as the donor after a nonprofit sued to expose the mystery backer. Hey, donations and governments, are we kidding? Every other politician gets thousands and millions, actually millions and millions of dollars from Wall Street. We'll keep going. CarePoint's predatory price gouging was lucrative, but in 2020, New Jersey legislatures accused Garpali, now a public company CEO, of siphoning over $157 million from his hospital network through Byzantine Web of LLC shell entities. The transaction left the hospitals financially crippled, leading to layoffs and a liquidating sale process to the new owners. Okay, that is a little bit compelling there. Meanwhile, Chamath has described Garpali as an absolute proven moneymaker. That could be because Chamath's firm received over 20 million founder shares worth 290 million of the current prices in exchange for 25,000 for promoting the Clover Health SPAC. Given that investors are paying over $250 million Chamath's due diligence, we think they deserve to know whether Chamath knew of these issues and concealed them, or whether he simply failed to notice them at all. Short sellers have exposed almost every major market fraud for the several past decades, yet there has been recent questions on whether short sellers and critical researchers play an important role in healthy functioning market. We hope that our research today serves as timely reminder that they do. Now, the big thing I want to disclose here, and it is in the title here, undisclosed DOJ investigation. So I went on, and I was a little skeptical there, and I went on towards the SEC filings. If you do remember, we did have a bit of SEC filings coming in towards early on, I think way before even the merger happened. So there we go, this SEC filing. It's an S4 filing under SCH Capital, Social Capital Head of Fee Holding. And this was actually put up a while ago, so October 20th. And just to show you, it's the exact same document. I'm going to write DOJ right on here. And there we go. From time to time, we are and may be subject to litigation or investigation, which could be costly and time-saving consuming to defend. From time to time, we are and may be subject to legal proceedings and claims that arise in ordinary course of business, such as claims brought by providers, facilities, consultants, vendors, in connection, and I'm going to zoom in here just if anyone is willing to read with me, with commercial. Okay, give me a second there. I completely lost it. There we go. And with commercial disputes or employment claims may be our current or former associates. In addition, from time to time, we are and may be subject to regular special government market conduct and other audits, investigation, and reviews by, and we receive and may receive subpoenas and other requests for information from various federal, state agencies, regulatory authorities, attorney general committees, subcommittees, and members of the U.S. Congress, and other state, federal, and international governments. Authorities. In the United States, federal and state governments have made investigations preceding healthcare and other insurance fraud and abuse of priority. Fraud, waste, and abuse prohibition encompasses a wide range of activities, including kickback for referral of members, fraudulent coding practices, billing for unnecessary medical and or other covered services, improper marketing violations, or Patient Privacy Act. The U.S. Department of Justice and the Department of Health and Human Services Office of Inspector General, blah, blah, blah. So they do actually mention that. They do mention that they may or they may have or will be getting those. And they do explain it that it is a part of their own business, and they do understand that. And so for me, that is as well still a part of that disclosure. In general, some people might think, well, they didn't really advertise it there. They didn't really put a label on it. They didn't fly it on with a plane and dragged it all around. But I mean, in general, I think that is still kind of part of that work. So there may be subject to loss. They basically explain that they may or have been under that kind of investigations. So a part of this disclosure is already mentioned in that S4 SEC filing. Now, another thing. Here's a person in question, Hiram Bermudez, regarding his connections to B&H Insurance. Now, generally speaking, I cannot exactly comment on whether it's actually true. Now, I did go ahead and check just quickly a little bit more information regarding their teams. He doesn't seem to be here on the team. I'm not sure who exactly his wife is. Their company, although for partners, does show Clover here. And regarding the validity of some of these things, of course, they're not proven. But they do have quite a lot of different figures and different informations here regarding every single thing that they've put in terms of comments. A lot of it, I see it as normal business practices. Some lawmakers might see it different wise. Now, generally speaking, here's Hiram. This is the actual thing we're talking about. And generally speaking, regarding their position for Clover here, let me just read it here quickly. Received records of National Association for Insurance Committee, NAIC, on the NIC page for BH Insurance. The entity listed from its former relationships with the most major insurance company in New Jersey, 17 in all. Clover was noticeably absent from the list, despite clearly appearing as a partner on the BHE website as shown above. Now, this paper here looks like the latest appointment dates or effective dates are all the way in 2020. It could be that just because of Clover's position, but it does show of a name woman's Yesenia Rivera, which is, according to them, Hiram's Bermuda's wife. Now, if we were to go and try to find where Yesenia Rivera is, actually, if they have any part into their team here, they're not actually on here. But generally speaking, there is a lot of material, and here's how I think it's going to play through. Remember, this firm actually brought down Nikola before. Before doing so and going on towards technical analysis and a little bit mentioning what I think about this one, I do definitely think that you should read this. You should read it thoroughly and see if they have convinced you or not. If you have your bullish statements are not as strong as theirs, it might not be just yours. Remember, if they scare a lot of investors, things tank. And I do expect Clover Health that are probably for sure are reviewing this document and preparing a response for it. That's something that I 100% believe in. Now, just a quick thing here, and I want to go towards the technical analysis point for after this one. So, their presentation on the 27th here, A cap on costs, $0 low premiums and co-pays, broad and open networks, more PCP visits, and basically this presentation was put up on the 27th. So why retail? Well, it's convenience. 90% of Americans live within 10 miles off Walmart, and more than 95% of Americans have shopped in Walmart within the year. So that's basically having their services enabled to being provided, or you can actually being provided through Walmart, for instance. And sorry, what I'm trying to actually explain is that accessible and affordable healthcare that you can actually sign up there. The information was presented on 27th. It is in one of the latest SEC filings. Institutional buyers, it looks like, well, of course, we do have Chamath having around 30 million shares, 30 million and a half shares. That's in terms of insider buyers. On January, well, that is a part of as well the SPAC deal, so they do have a lot of shares in there. Institutional buyers, I don't see anything that has decreased today, so just reloading quickly. Of course, Vivek has 36.80% of the number of total shares available. Now, institutional buyers still seem that they haven't pulled out yet. Now, could be a little bit of a delay there. Next is their technical analysis. If you haven't done so, please make sure to actually subscribe and leave notifications on. Now, we get to see a massive drop of 12.33% today. That is a little bit of a massive drop where it was accumulating. Of course, all indicators are telling you to run. Everything turned bearish because there's a panic in the market. And what I want to explain a little bit is what I anticipate. Now, volume here is 68.2 million. Usually we're averaging around 11. So around 6 days worth of volume in one day. Generally speaking, I run away from Hindenburg Research shares because they tend to actually see a massive pullback. Now, Fibonacci retracements. Resistance at 1313, 1392, 1455, 1518, 1609, and 1724. Now, generally speaking, those supports and resistances, we can also find them through quick price line action. Currently, support is a weaker one at 12.15. Significant resistance at 13.22. Another at 13.76. Another at 14.14. Another at 14.69. 15.70. And 16.21. Now, generally speaking here, what I think is going to happen, I think that the price point is probably going to hit $10 because that is a historical support for SPACs. Now, does Hindenburg have a bit of a case here? They do have a good amount of case here. A lot of it can be either brushed off as business, the kind of way the field or the business does the work, the kind of work here. Some of it is them using their connections for their favor, and then others could be relating to a little bit of gray area in their disclosures, such as the DOJ. They said they may have or will have subpoenas. Now, they didn't shout it out and yell it on there because it might not have merit in there, and that's very much common things that the DOJ looks into things commonly. The DOJ as well, the Department of Justice, is facing a little bit of changes, of course, with a bit of the administration changes. But generally speaking, I'm very looking forward to see what the results of those are. I think it's going to probably go to $10. It's going to accumulate somewhere around there, $9 to $10. It's going to stay there for a week or two, and then it's just going to brush off that news and then jump back up. That is my expectations on it. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. What do you think about Hindenburg Research? Mention it down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. Yeah, have a wonderful day.